Hi YouTube, this is Rose. I'm reading this article, Pope has done almost nothing to halt sex abuse. Author claims. Now we're going to take a short look at what happened right before Pope Francis came into his papacy. None of these popes can release a dove of peace to save anybody's life. Crazy. Okay, so now we're going to check out the article and find out about the OMERTA Code of Silence. This article is 4 months old, written by Stephanie Kirkganger in Rome. Monday, 16th January 2017, the last time Italian journalist Emilio Fittipaldi wrote and exposed about corruption at the heart of the Roman Catholic Church, it landed him in a Vatican court facing a possible jail sentence on charges that he had allegedly obtained confidential church papers in the course of his reporting. Now, 6 months after the 42-year-old reported he was cleared of all charges, Fittipaldi was taken on the church again, this time in a new book that accuses Pope Francis of doing close to nothing to stop clerical sexual abuse in Italy and around the world, despite the Argentina's Pope's frequent assertions that he has zero tolerance for abuse of children and those who protect abusers. LUSSURIA, which will be released in Italian by publisher Feltrini on Thursday, Fittipaldi methodically pores over court documents and cites interviews with priests and judicial officials to paint a damning picture of the first 3 years of Francis's papacy. Fittipaldi claims that 1,200 plausible complaints of molestation against boys and girls from around the world have been brought to the Vatican's attention in that period. In some of the 20 cases of alleged sexual abuse by priests in Italy in 2016, Fittipaldi writes, priests have been convicted of abuse without the church taking any carnal action against them. Fittipaldi also devotes attention to the case of Australian Cardinal George Pell. He was appointed by Francis to reform finances and has remained in that senior position, despite questions over whether Pell protected serial abusers in his archdiocese in Australia decades ago. Pell has denied the allegations against him, but a council assisting a royal commission looking at child abuse in Australia has argued that the evidence that Pell should have taken stronger action against one pedophile priest whose case has been examined. Francis did not accept Pell's resignation in June when the Australian cardinal reached retirement age, has declined to pass judgment on him. When he was asked by reporters about a separate abuse investigation into Pell by Victoria State Police, the Pope said, "Justice has to take its course." I cannot stand that man's voice. Last November, Francis did, however, decide not to renew Pell's membership in a Vatican office that handles the church liturgical practice. He was one of several traditionalists whose membership was not renewed. A spokesman for Pell called Fittipaldi's work a piece of shoddy and dated piece of journalism. Why am I not surprised? That stated false accusations and failed to mention the work Pell had done to confront clerical sex abuse against minors. Yeah, that I'd have to see. The principal message of the book: the problem is that the phenomenon of pedophilia is not being fought with sufficient force. Across the world, the Church continues to protect the privacy of these pedophiles and also cardinals who protect them. Fittipaldi, in an interview with The Guardian, Francis is not directly defending the pedophiles, but he did close to nothing to contrast the phenomenon of pedophilia, he added. It is not a new charge against the Pope, while Francis is popular, especially for his strong views in support of poor and marginalized people. Groups that advocate for survivors of sexual abuse have regularly criticized Francis for taking a for failing to take concrete steps to prevent and expose abuse. Even though he has used strong words to condemn sexual violence by priests, a papal commission created by Francis early in his papacy has only met 3 or 4 times in its history. Fittipaldi said that separately, a Vatican proposal to create a tribunal to investigate bishops who cover up for abuse, which was celebrated by advocacy groups when it was announced in 2015, has inexplicably been stalled. Not a surprise. The Vatican did not respond to a request from the comment of the book or assertions that Francis has not done enough to tackle abuse. Fittipaldi alleges that under Francis's watch, priests who practice OMERTA, a term that refers to the code of silence, usually by the MAFIA, has been favored by the Church. Not another surprise. Among other incidents, LUSSURIA delves into the case of Marno Izzolia, a priest who was nicknamed Don Mercedes for his rich taste, Jezebel. Izzolia was found guilty of molesting children in 2012 by the church that examined such cases and was defrocked by Francis's predecessor, Pope Benedict, but in 2014, under Francis's Izzolia, punishment was softened and he was unable to return to the clergy under limited conditions and to enjoy life of humility, a prayer. Oh, isn't that wonderful for him? In the meantime, children are suffering and being raped, murdered, and tortured. In the meantime, civil authorities in Italy persecuted him, and last year he was convicted of abuse. At the time of his conviction, a judge criticized the Holy See for not turning over evidence in the case. Amazing. Just unbelievably disgusting. The Vatican refused to give judges documents because it is considered the pontiff's secret, Fittipaldi wrote. Clerical sexual abuse has received close media scrutiny in the U.S. since 2012, when the Boston Globe exposed hundreds of cases and brought the issue to light. But in Italy, even after the success of the film Spotlight, which chronicled the Globe's investigation and won Academy Award for the best film last year, this issue, still considered a taboo, has never been viewed as an epidemic. In the Catholic countries, Italy and Spain, South America, the sexual crimes of priests are hard to tell. This is a kind of auto-censoring on the part of journalists and victims because the shame and because of the culture of the church is very strong, Fittipaldi said. In LUSSURIA, he describes dozens of cases that are covered marginally in daily newspapers in Italy as individuals' tiles that, when put together and seen from a distance, create a mosaic. Fittipaldi was working on LUSSURIA during his trial for allegedly obtaining secret documents. Speaking to The Guardian, he recalled, "It was ironic being there during the trial. I was thinking that many priests and bishops and cardinals were involved in sexual abuse, and the Vatican does nothing. They prefer going after journalists."